This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, Rabbi Sai. Even though today is Wednesday, we're going to be learning further in Megillas Rus. We are up to Perek Gimel, Pasuk Yud Aleph. We just learned the Malbim's astounding explanation for what Naomi's advice to Rus was, and that is, we learned that when a person passes away without children, the neshama is in turmoil, the neshama is in a storm, and is sort of banging around in the soul of his wife, for her not having brought him offspring, and the soul has no respite until the wife performs the mitzvah of Yibum and brings a child down to this world, and that child is the deceased. And that is why the pasuk says in Perek Daled, we didn't get to it yet, that when the child was born, the pasuk says that he was Ben Lenami, the son of Nami. The son of Nami? This was the grandson of Nami. The answer is no, this is Machlain reincarnate. And that was the message that Rus was conveying to Boaz midnight at the threshing floor. And what she did was she uncovered his feet. Why did she uncover his feet? Because the purpose of Yibum is to give body to the disturbed soul of the deceased. It's like the deceased is floating around as a soul without a guf. And we said the analogy is the body to the soul is like the shoe to the body. So if somebody doesn't want to do Yibum, it's like he doesn't want to offer a shoe to his brother. That's why if somebody refuses to do Yibum, the process of Chalitza is removal of the shoe, and that's why he's called Beis Chalotz Hanal. Okay? So, Perek Gimel Pasuk Yud Aleph. V'yata biti, and now my daughter, al tirai, fear not. Kol asher toimri, whatever you say, e'eselach, I will do for you. Ki yodea koshar ami, because the whole gate of my people know, ki eshes chayil at, you are a woman of valor. In other words, Boaz is saying that fear not, I will instruct you what to do. Everybody knows you are a woman of valor. Says the Malbim Pasuk Yud Aleph, V'yata biti, now my daughter, Avo ba'asher lo yochol lavoya leho liyabma, takeoff, because he was not able to live with her immediately, ad sheyishal es hagol hasheni, until he asked the second redeemer, chashash shatira she'ena roitza liyabma. He thought she was afraid that he didn't want to do Yibum. Alzeh amar la, therefore he says to her, V'yata biti al tirai, now my daughter, fear not. Ba'asher tashav ki ani doicha oisach. Don't think I'm pushing you off. I'm not pushing you off. Bakesh ve'eni chafetz bach. Ki ani doicha ascha. Bekash. Maybe bekal. Ve'eni chafetz bach. Don't think I'm just blowing you off and I don't want you. Whatever you say, I will do. I promise to be miyavim you, like you said, like you requested, that you spread your cloak on your maidservant. If we prove that I am the Redeemer, because the second Redeemer does not want to redeem you, I will do whatever you say. V'altiri, don't be afraid, pen kishete esyayitz l'machem anshe yiniuni miyabim. Don't be afraid that people are going to talk me out of it. They're going to say, you're the God, what are you doing marrying a Moabite? Lisa nar mayavia. Don't be afraid of that. In other words, fear not that I'm pushing you off. Fear not that someone will talk me out of it, because everyone knows ki yodea koshar ami ki eshes chayil at v'kulam yaskimu azeh. Everyone will acknowledge that this is a good move. Pasuk Yud Beis. V'yata, now ki amnam, because however, ki goyal anoichi, I am a redeemer. V'gam yesh goyal karov mimeni. However, there's also a closer Redeemer. Now, what do we have in this pasuk? We have a word that's written and not read. The word im. Im goyal anochi. If, Rashi points out, im ksiv v'loy kri koloymar mashma safek. There's a suffix. Vada yesh goyal karmeni. There certainly is a closer goyal. Why? Because Rashi says, Amar Rabbi Shul ben Levi, Salmoin Elimelech Toiv. Salmoin, the father of Boaz, Elimelech, the father of Machlon, Toiv, the goyal here, the Ploni Almoini Achim Hayu. Umahu asher la'achinu Elimelech. So why does Boaz call Elimelech his brother? Elimelech was his uncle. The answer is often people refer to their uncle as their brother. La'ilam karyadam as doidoi, achiv, ki inyan shenemar, hayishma Avram, ki nishba, echav. V'haloi Avram, doidoi haya. Avram was Lot's uncle. Kach haya Boaz Elimelech ben achiv, kroivoi shel machlon, aval toiv haya karv yoser. Toiv was Rus's uncle, Machlon's uncle. However, Boaz was her first cousin. So, therefore, Toiv had first cracks. Look at the next Rashi. Karov mimeni, shehu ach, he's a brother, va'ani ben ach, and I am the son of the brother. Says the Malbim like this, Pasuk Yebez, va'ata now, Ratzalimer, amnam, liyavmech ata teka fiyafshir. I can't do Yibam right now. Ki amnam. Ki amnam, the Malbim translates, although it's true, Hagam shazeh emes, ki goyal anoichi, b'chol zeh lo yuchal liyavmech ata, I can't be miyavim, you know, ba'asher v'gam yesh goyal karov mimeni, v'hu koydem laza, he takes priority. Lihni halayla, v'haya v'aboiker, im yigalech toiv yigal. Lini halayla. Stay over the night. And in the morning, if Toiv will redeem you, good. Im yigalech Toiv yigal. If Toiv redeems you, he will redeem you. V'im lo yachboitz yigalech. If he doesn't want to redeem you, ugaltich anoichi chay Hashem. I will redeem you, says God. By the life of Hashem, says Boaz, he swears, shichvi ad haboiker. Sleep over till the morning. Could somebody give me Mishabura Chelek Aleph? Okay, so here we have the word lini. Lini halayla. Now this word lini is a very important word in halacha. Why is that? There's a shaila in halacha. When do you say Tikkun Chatzos? Sure, you always wanted to know that. When do you say Tikkun Chatzos?
Before Chasot.
No kidding, right? Yeah. The question is, what time of the year? During which months of the year? Well, here's the Kabbalah. From Shichvi until Kumi. From Shichvi until Kumi. What does that mean? What do we say on Shavuos? We say on Shavuos, Shichvi. Boaz told Rus, Shichvi ad haboiker. And what do we say on Tisha B'Av? We say Kumi. So the Messiah is, you say Tikkun Chatzos, from Shichvi, from Rus, until Eicha. From Shichvi, from get down on the floor, ad Kumi, until get up. Excuse me. So like this, Hacham give him Shichvi ad Kumi, Hani Mishvuah, Sha'im Rizal Adizra, Sha'im Kumi, Ein Sarach Lakum Alayla. You don't have to. From Shichvi until Kumi, from Shavuos that you say Shichvi, lie down, until Tisha B'Av that you say Kumi, you don't say Tikkun Chatzos. Some say from Tu B'Av until Tu B'Iyar, you do say Tikkun Chatzos. And for you Mekabalim out there, you say it every night. Okay, but this is actually, this pasuk Shichvi is a demarcation of Tikkun Chatzos. Brought down by the Mishnah. Fine. So says the Mishnah, says the Malbim, Why is he inviting her to be shichvi at haboker? Lini alayla tzricha at lalon pai. You need to stay over here at shia boiker until the morning. Sha'az adaber im toiv. Then I will speak with toiv. Vim yigalech toiv halay hu yigal. Ratzalemer halay oz loy hamish v'rakdima. Then he has first dibs. Vim loy. But if not, rak zois ani mavtichacha b'shvur. Then I swear to you, shem lo yachvoitz l'galech. If he doesn't want to redeem you, oz ugaltich anoichi chay Hashem. Alza ani nishbalach. Uvasher ratzas alokum mimish chava margaloisav. That which you want to get up now. You know why? I am not worried about my Yetzer Hara. Stay right here, and I'll overcome the temptation. The Chazal said, Li Yitzroi Nishba, this shvur that he took of Chai Ani, Chai Hashem, he swore to the Yetzer Hara that he's not going to make a move. It's going on both stipulations. Al Tanai, he swears Shem lo yigal toiv yigal, that if toiv doesn't redeem her, he will. In other words, like this. There are two Tanan. That Tanai number one is that if toiv redeems you, he will redeem you. And he's swearing that until he speaks to Toiv, he will not touch her. He's swearing to his Yetzer Hara. So he's swearing one to the Yetzer Hara and one to her. To the Yetzer Hara, he swears he will not touch her until Toiv has first cracks. And the other shvur is if Toiv doesn't, he will in fact do the mitzvah. Luckily, you're not asking any questions. Let's go further. Pasuk Yudalid. Okay.
You said if they're relevant.
Vatishkav margeloisav ad haboker. And she lay by his feet until the morning. Vatakam, she got up. B'terem yakir ish Yisrael, before someone could recognize their friend. Vayomer, he said al yivada. Let it not be found out kiva ha'isha hagoren, that the woman came to the threshing floor, to the silo. It says the Malvin pasuk Yudava Yermal Yivada Tziva es naroi. He told his attendant, listen, this is between me and you. Shalo yigala l'shum adam sha'isha sha'isa b'sada b'laylam naroisav, that the woman who was with the other girls in close to evening, ba min asad el hagoren, she snuck into the silo. V'nishara sham lalon. Vayomer, he said, Havi hamitpachas asher alayich. Give me the cloak that's upon you. Ve'echa ziva, I will grab onto it. Va'toiches ba. Ve'echa ziva, and grab onto it. Va'toiches ba, she grabbed onto it. What's he telling her?
They got a canyon here.
Ve'echa ziva, he commands her to grab onto va'toiches ba. She grabbed onto it. Vayomed sheish sa'irim. He measured out six barley corns. Vayosha salah, he put it on her. Vayova here, she came to the city. Says a Malbim.
6 measures of barley, right? For food to eat. No?
What are these 6 barleys? 6 barleys? Wow, very generous. What are 6 barleys going to do for her? Nira shahaya midas kav. 6 means a kav. Why? Because a kav is a sixth of a sa. There's 6 eggs in a lug. There are 4 lug in a kav. There's 6 kav in a sa. So 6 means a kav, which is a sixth of a sa. Shekain haya darkam lechalek mida gedoyla l'sheish chalakim. The practice in the ancient times was everything was divided by 6. They would pick numbers that they were divided by 6. Kamasha kasav, like it says in Yechezkel, v'shishisem es ha'efa. Make the ephah into a sixth. V'hamida hazois nikrei sheish. What does it mean? He gave her sheish sa'irim. Says the Malbim is Machadesh, sheish is a measurement. It was a established measurement. A pound, an ounce, whatever. And what exactly was this measurement? A sixth of a kav. a sixth of a sa, which is a kav. Va'adinhu. Now, how much of a meal do you give an ani? When an ani comes to your house, there is a halach of tzedakah. You give a half a kav. So basically, how much is he giving her? He's giving her a kav. How many meals? Two. Two meals. One for her, one for Naomi. What are they going to eat for supper? If they eat 2 meals a day, he needed to give them 2 kav. He's only giving them 1 kav. That's only enough for the morning. That was his siman that he's not letting the day go by before he takes care of the matter. I'm only giving you breakfast. I'm not giving you dinner. By dinner time, we're going to have this matter settled, right? You have to give a loaf that has a chatzi kav. B'nosan lenami bros kav shu mazin tzudar shachar s'shteim. Uvazeh gila, he showed with this sheyigmar hadavar hayoim that he's going to complete the matter today. V'lo yitztorchel al sudas ha'erev. They're not going to need dinner. Vayavo yair, you hear? Because we're going to see that Naomi tells Rus, worry not, I know about this man, he's going to settle the matter today. How did she know? She looked at the doggy bag. She saw a breakfast. She didn't see dinner. She knew that he would never forsake them like that. It must be they were going to hear from them by evening. Pasuk Tezayin. V'atava el chamoisa. She came to her mother-in-law. V'atamer. She said, "Mi'at biti, who are you, my daughter?" V'atageh. She said to her, "Iskal asher asa laha ish." Everything the man did for her. Says the Malbim. V'atava el chamoisa. She came to her mother-in-law. Ratzalomer. Shebederach halachima. He escorted her on the road. Rakish when they came to the city, Az nifradu, they separated. Hu ba'el levada, he went back to the city on his own. V'hi ba'el chamoisa levada, and she came to her mother-in-law on her own. V'atoimer miat, she said, "Who are you?" What kind of question is that? Here, the girl's taking care of her, for the last 10 years, right? She was moiser nefesh to, who are you?
Yeah, she wants to know if she's getting married. Is she accurate?
The answer is, she came back in the cover of night. She couldn't even write. She said, who goes there? Right? Mavur shagam kishabala beis chamoisa yibater miyakir ish Yisrael v'lechin shala mihu haba. V'atagila is kasher asala ish vatzomer shenishbala. She told Nami that he swore to me shetigal b'chol oisan. You have oifan? Yes. Okay. Imal yidei toiv, imal yada. He swore, bottom line, someone is going to take care of this matter. V'atoimer, she said, Sheish hasa'irem ha'ela nasanli. He gave me these 6 barley corns. This kav, ki amar. He said, Al tavoyi reikam. Actually, ki amar elai. He said to me, Al tavoyi reikam al chamasech. Do not come back empty-handed to your mother-in-law. Oh, look at the next pasuk. Va'atoimer shviviti ad asher teidin echipal davar ki lo yishkoid ha'ish ki im ki la hadavar hayahoim. She said, stay here, my daughter, until we know how this is going to fall, because this man will not rest until he completes the matter today. How did she know? She saw the 6. She saw the 6 sa'irim. She saw the kav. She realized he's going to settle the matter today. It says the Malbim pasuk Yudzayin. V'atomer sheish hasarma il nasamli v'loy l'shem kedushin. This was not our kedushin. Rak amar al tavoy reikam ratzam shielanu sudas haboiker. V'atomer shaviviti ki lo yishkoid ha'ish ki im kila hadavar hayom shemimah shenasan rak mazon suda achas. The fact that he gave 1 meal. Husimin shahayoim yugmar hadavar kanal. Well, Rabbi say, Uhu vayaz Allah hashar vayeshav sham. Boaz went up to the gate and he sat there. V'hinei hagoy Eloi ver asher diber Boaz vayomer surah shvafai ploini amoni vayosar vayeshev. This is a very important pasuk. Boaz went up to the gate. What gate?
The Bezdin was.
The Bezdin.
We had a shiur about this a number of years ago.
And he sat there. What was he doing?
It was the Rosh Bezdin.
He needed to darshan something. Very important drasha. Mayavi v'loy mayavia. But the problem is that a paisek, or a dayan that judges, if it's nagea him, we don't listen to him. So he needed to preempt by making the drasha before it was relevant to him. Before he even asked Toiv, you want to do it? Before the whole issue comes to the forefront, he quickly convenes the Bezdin and he paskins Mayavi v'loy Mayaviyah. Vihine! What does Vihine mean? What? Unexpected, something surprising. Unbelievable. Boaz knew he had to summon the Goyal. Vihine ha-Goyal oiver! Wow! The Goyal happened to be passing by. Asher Dibra, Boaz was just talking about him. He said, Suru Shiva Pai, turn here, Pliny Almoini. Boaz said, you know what, have a seat in the court. By the way, on the Sheish Sa'irim, it's the famous Chazal from the Gemara in Sanhedrin. 6 Sa'irim is a very heavy thing. It's unusual for a woman to carry so much.
It's only 2 meals.
Well, that's how the Malbim learns. The Sifsei Chacham says, Pashib Shad, it would be 6 Sa, but it was a remez that a child will come from you who is misbarich with 6 brachas. Ruach Chachma, Bina, Eitza, Gvura, Das, Yiras Hashem. Well, take a look in the Malbim, Pasuk, Perek Dal, Pasuk Aleph. Ubayaz olah hashar, shesham Moshe v'Sanhedrin. V'hayadaitoi lahazmin as hagoyel, he had in mind to invite the goyel. Ayidei shlucha d'beidina, through the shliach habezin. V'hizmin Hashem orchestrated. Shahagoyel over Hashem, the goyel was passing by. V'alzeh amar v'hinei hagoyel over. Shemilas hinei moira davar chadosh. The word hinei implies something new. Kiloi hayadarkoi lavar darsham. This guy didn't usually pass by the bezdin. Rak asher diber Boaz. Mitzad shediber Boaz sheish lo inyanim hagoyel. Once Boaz brought up the topic that he has business to take care of with the goyel, his min Hashem shayavar, God orchestrated that the goyel should pass by, and therefore Akin Amar, he says Suru Shva Pai, turn here, sheyasam midarko sheratz olechas v'leishev, turn in from your road and stay here. And he called him Pliny Almani. Why is he calling him Pliny Almani? The Rashi says Pliny Almani means Pliny is kasi v'tamer, hidden. Right? Targum translates Nevi'im kasi v'tamer. Rashi says Pliny is mechusa, Almani is almoin, without a name. In other words, Pliny, whenever you want to say just some random guy, Hu Gavra, you say Pliny Almani. But another Chazal also say he was an Almoin midivrei Torah. He should have made this drasha, and he didn't make the drasha. Interesting, we call somebody who doesn't have Torah an Almoin, reminding us of the analogy that Torah is considered our wife. So this individual who didn't have the drasha, he's an almoin, so to speak. Okay. But the Malbim has an amazing shot here. Why is he called Pliny Almoini? We have a pele over here. Kamay lafale neder. Like the pasuk, when you want to talk about enunciating a neder, you say lefale neder, to enunciate a neder. Shemoira al bechiras hamachshava. Choice of thought.
By neder it says kiyafli lindo neder.
Correct. Inyan almoini hainu kesher, a tie, a binding. Kamay ma'almim alumim. Ki davar min hakesher sheyesh lo im gulasai sheyipla v'yavar davar zeh. He spoke, he diber min hakesher. He has a connection with the redemption, and it needs to be activated and acted upon. In other words, he calls him Pliny Almoini. You have a connection over here, and you need to choose what to do. Okay. Pasuk Beis. Vayikach asara anashim mizikna here. He took 10 men from the elders of the city, Vayomer, and he said, Shavu fai, stay here, Vayeshevu, and they stayed. What do you need 10 people for? Right, so there are 2 pshatim in the Gemara in Ksubis. Either they're about to get married, so, birchas chasanim, tzar chasara. But also, he needed to darshan in front of them. And a drasha, a chiddush abeza needs a 10. Says the Malbim, Chazal darshu, shehechin oisam, he prepared them v'darash lufneyam amoni v'lei amonis. V'heven the Talmud Chacham sha'amar dvar halacha, Talmud Chacham who says a matter of halacha im koidem ma'isa amra, if he says it before it's relevant, shoymim loy, we listen to him. V'yamachar ma'isa, and if after the story, amar ein shoymim loy. In other words, if Boaz would have gotten up after he married Ruth and given a shir barabim, moyavi v'loy moyavia. Yeah, what would people have said?
Conflict of interest.
Right? Conflict of interest.
But even here you could still say it's conflict.
Ki nogeya b'davar. He's nogeya. Now here, he was offering Toiv first. He was sincerely giving it to Toiv.
It's going to look really strange if right after this.
Well, he had to tell Tov it was okay also, otherwise Tov wouldn't take it. So he had to tell us, this is a legitimate deal, Tov.
V'yalkein hiktim lakachtam ata. Therefore, he advanced to take them now. She'ein nogeya b'davar. When he doesn't have the conflict of interest, ki ata hagul v'ayivim shayach al Toiv. Right now, the ball's in Toiv's court. Right? V'hu eino nogeya b'davar. V'oydom r'chazal she'berchas chasana b'asara. Marriage needs the minyan. V'ratza she'yu mezumanim takeoff. He wanted to set everything up, make sure he'd be able to seal the deal that day. El berchas chasanim she'yu sham b'chol oifen.
You think he knew he was going to die?
Did he know he would die? I don't know. But the Chavetz Chaim points out, look how important Zrizos is. If you push something off even one day, you never know.
That's right.
Imagine if Boaz would have said, you know what? Tomorrow the flower arrangement will be a little bit nicer. They would have had to use the flowers for his, Yeah. So, says the Chavetz Chaim, tshuva has to be hayom. You have to make sure you do it today. Okay, now we get into a little pocket here of Hilchos Kinyanim. We're going to talk about, Yibum really has two parts. The Yibum that we're familiar with is you marry the deceased wife. But part of it also is you redeem his fields. Fields that the wife may have had to sell in order to support herself, in order to bring the family nachla back to the family. Or just to be able to keep, in other words, you want to keep his estate within the family. So part of it is not just to marry the woman, but to sort of take possession of the ancestral land. Vayomer la goya. So Boaz turns to the goyal. He says to the goyal, "Chelkas hasada, the portion of the field, asher le'achinu, that was to our brother." Now, in terms of Toiv, Elimelech was a brother, but in terms of Boaz, he was an uncle. Asher le'achinu le'Elimelech, that belonged to Elimelech. Machra nami sold. Hashava mistei Mayav, the one who returned from the fields of Mayav. So what's going on over here? Let's read one more pasuk and we'll explain. Va'ani amarti, and Boaz says, and I'm saying, Egle oznecha lemar, I want to reveal to your ear, saying, Kenei, acquire the field. Neged hayoshvim, in the presence of those sitting here, v'neged ziknei ami, in the presence of the elders of my people. Im tigal ga'al, if you want to redeem it, redeem it. V'im lo yigal hagidali, and if you don't want to redeem it, tell me. Ve'edea, and I will make it known, ki ein zulas chaligal, that there is no one other than you to redeem. V'anoichi acharecha, and therefore I'm next. Vayomer, and he said, Anoichi egal, I'll redeem it. Vayomer Boaz, and Boaz said, whoa, b'yoim kinoischa hasada miyad Nomi, on the day that you acquire the field from the hands of Nomi, ume'es Rus hamoyaviyah, and from Rus the Moabite, Eshes hameis, the wife of the deceased, Kanisa, you're acquiring it, lahakim shem hameis, to establish the name of the mace al nachlase, to his inheritance. Whoa, all of a sudden he has cold feet. Vayomer Agoyal, lo yuchal legoli, I can't redeem for me. Penashchas es nachalasi, lest I destroy my inheritance. Ge'al lecha, you redeem. Ata eskulasi, my redemption. Ki lo yuchal legal. The question here obviously is what transpired. At first he says, Anoichi egal, And then he says, Lo yuchal legal. So what changed? Also, let's look at some other nuances. Let's start with Pasuk Gimel. Vayomer lagoy chelkas hasadeh. What does chelka mean? A chelak. And all of a sudden, Pasuk Hey, b'yom kenoischa hasadeh. Now all of a sudden it's the whole field. I thought in Pasuk Gimel it's only part of the field. So what changed? Comes the Malbim, Pasuk Gimel. Vayomer lagoyel chelkas hasadeh asher la'achinu le'elimelech machar nami. Now, what do you mean Nami sold? So what does Boaz want from? What does he want from his life? If Nami sold it, what does he want the Goyal to do? Buy it back. But here's the thing: what kind of field was it? A steachuza, presumably. Steachuza is ancestral possession that you get. When does it go back to the family? Yovel. Now, if you sell steachuza, how long do you have to buy it back? You have to wait 2 years. You can't buy back within the first 2 years. Now, Nami just came back. So if Nami sold it, what's he telling the girl to redeem it? He can't redeem it yet.
We don't know when she sold it.
7 years ago.
No, then her husband was alive. She just came back. Again, when she came back, how long is Boaz waiting until he marries Rus?
3 months.
3 months. So the 2 years have not passed.
But we don't know when she sold it. She could have sold it before she came back.
No, how? In Moav?
Why? Right after he died.
She couldn't have sold it.
Yeah, before he died, she couldn't have sold it.
Right. And in Moav, l'chayra, she couldn't have sold it. So, what does he want the Goyal to do? So, look at the fascinating piece here. Look in Pasuk Gimel. Vayomer l'Goyal. Chelkas hasada asher la'achinu l'elimelech machar nami. Hine ein lefarish shekvar machar le'ish acher. You can't say she sold it. V'ratza sheyigal as hasada. And she wants him to redeem the field. Miyad halakech. From the Vayda hastei achuza. Einoi nigo b'achuz m'shtei shanim. You can't redeem a stei achuza within 2 years. V'oid. We're going to see later, they're buying the field from Nami. If you look later, it says, he says on the day you buy the field from Nami, and what do you mean from Nami? Nami doesn't have it. I thought she sold it. So when it says he wants her to redeem the field that Nami sold, she never sold it. She wanted to sell it. It's on the sale. It's on the trade block. It's on the market. It's on the market. It's on the market to be sold. Machra means she wanted to sell it. That's what it means. Okay, we're gonna get to that. Also, right? The parish is like this. She decided to sell it. Now, in the olden days, in times of the Tanakh, when you wanted to sell a field, you would announce the field is for sale. It was as if she wanted to sell it. Whoever wanted to buy it. Or she wants to sell it, and I'm saying, and I told her, Boaz is telling Toiv, I told her, or another pshat is, not that it's on the trade block. I know she wanted to sell it, so I told her I would let you know so you could buy it. So to keep it in the family. He says, it says, why does it say that he's talking to Toiv, and he says, Im tigal ga'al, if you redeem it good. V'im lo yigal, what do you mean v'im lo yigal? Just say v'im lo tigal. And if you don't redeem it, he's talking to him. The answer is, he's telling him over a story of what he told Naomi. V'ani amarti, I said to Naomi, Boaz is telling Toiv, that I would let you know first, and I would tell you that if you redeem it, good. And I told her, and if he doesn't redeem it, in other words, not even him addressing Toiv. He's telling Toiv what he told Nami.
When did he meet Nami? We have no indication there was any contact. Yeah, there was the intermediary of Rus, but no direct contact. Maybe it was through Rus.
Maybe.
I figured that's how she was going to know.
Right? that he should say to you, in other words, I was going to tell you and say to you, Neged ziknei ami, kinei, im tigal ga'ol, kol zeh hiftachti la, all this I told her, she'omer l'cha, that I would say to you, v'amarti la, and I said to her, v'im lo yigal ha'goyel, and if he doesn't do it, and it's a little bit missing, v'chasa yes advarim shazeh, ein tzarch loimer atav, yuven me'ilav.
Doesn't bother you that she says she has feelings?
Why?
She comes back, she comes back in with nothing. So how does she get feelings?
Maybe it weren't good quality. It wasn't the liquid.
She was 10 years gone.
It was liquid.
So what do you want about the 2 years?
No, but when did she sell it? She couldn't have sold it there. She couldn't have sold it until she got back.
Right.
Now she got back. We learned that the question is why didn't she go to her own fields?
They weren't open, no?
I think we learned that maybe they were like occupied, and it was difficult to. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see. Well, the Malbim says that, if they had fields, then why were they poor when they came back? The Malbim says, that's why it says at the end of Parak Aleph, they came back in the beginning of the harvest. Now, if you didn't plant, there's nothing to harvest.
It wasn't
right?
liquid.
That's the Malbim at the end of Parak Aleph.
Value, but it's reduced.
Correct.
There's nothing on it.
It's just the real estate, there's no crop on it.
Now, in Pasuk Chav Beis, the Malbim said that when Naomi returned, she left all her fields, and it could be other people sort of occupied it. And it could be it was a difficult thing until, there's a law that if you let someone into your house and you let them start getting mail, forget it. You can't kick them out. So you can imagine the first couple of months.
Squatters' rights.
Right? The first couple of months that she came back, maybe she had a hard time selling the field.
Liquid.
Right?
It wasn't liquid.
So it wasn't planted. It was overgrown. It was hard to sort of free it from whoever had been there in the last 10 years. Maybe they were aniyim, just hanging out. Whatever.
Nevertheless, Plummy Amomi, what he knew about the fields alone, he said I would do it.
Right.
It's only when he heard that it was connected with Rus that then he said no.
Correct.
Still, he felt it was worth something.
Yeah, it definitely had value, and maybe even he wanted to do the mitzvah of keeping in the family. Now let's get into the diuk of the chelka as opposed to the sada. V'nei mimashakasav chelkas hasada mashma rak chelek min hasada loy kula. Why only part of it? V'doichik loymer k'mashakasav harab Avram ben Ezra shalimach lo heloy sada shleim. It's very doichik to say, like the Ibn Ezra says, that Elimelech did not have a whole field; he only had a chelka. So you know what the pshat is? The pshat is that when Elimelech died and his sons died, Nami took part of the field for what?
Sustenance.
Her ksuba. And Rus took part of the field for her ksuba. And what Nami was selling was her chelek. So all that was being offered, the chelka of the sada that still is Elimelech's, Nami wants to sell, but Nami couldn't sell Rus's chelek in it. Rus had a right to collect it for her ksuba. Now it doesn't fit in, if you remember, Chazal say that she was moichel her ksuba. We had in Parak Aleph. Okay. But the first thing that Boaz is telling the Toiv is mehachilek shal Nami, the portion of Nami's field. She writes a limkar chatzi asada shala. She wants to sell her half. Sheyesh loy besada shal Elimelech. Va'ani amarti, and therefore Boaz tells him, I said, Uvashar ini roitza shetibal nachlas achinu biyad zarma. I don't want my brother, meaning my uncle's field, to fall into the hands of others. V'ata hakoydim begula, and you really have first dibs. Lachin amarti, therefore I say, Egla aznacha. I will make you know. I will reveal it to you. Va'omer and I'll say, Kinei ata, you acquired it. V'mloi tertza legal, ani achrecha, I'll do it after you. Va'yom anochi egal, and Tov said, no problem, I'll do it. You know why he said that? Because he was only appraised of the chelkas asada, but he wasn't appraised now of the other half. V'asher lo gila rak mechelik shel nami ratzu legal chelek hazeh. Let's do one more pasuk. One more pasuk.
What do you mean about destroying his Yerusha? How would he destroy his Yerusha?
Like this. Now he says, on the day you acquire the field, sorry pal, I didn't tell you that there's a whole field here. I only told you about the first half. Really, you need to acquire the second half. Now, the Malbim, unbelievably, look at Pasuk Hey. B'yoim kenoischa asada miyad nami. What should it say? Umiyad Rus hamoyavia. Rus has the other half. How is the Goyal going to get Nami's field? He has to do what? Buy it with a kinyan. He has to hand her money, basically. If he hands her money, now the field will stay in the family's. Why doesn't it say Umiyad Rus hamoyavia? The same way the kinyan of Nami's chelek is with the kinyan miyad liyad kesef. Why doesn't it say Umiyad Rus? The answer is Rus's half. He's not acquiring with money. He's going to acquire with Ibum. And when you're miyabim a woman, the field comes along as part of the deal. So it's miyad nami. Ume'es Rus hamayaviyah. So now he's being told he has to marry her. He says, no, I'm afraid if I'm going to destroy my inheritance, meaning my children are going to be not kosher, lavai bekal. Now let's spend maybe 5-6 more minutes. Says the Malbim on Pasuk Hey. Vayomer Boaz. Oz gilo loy Boaz. Boaz revealed to him. She'iyav sheligo chelek shel nami levad. No. You can't only do half a job here. You can't only take what? This is the Malbim Pasuk Hey. It's on page Lamed Gimel on your sheets. You can't only take Nami's half. Ki hagoyel hakoina chelek shel Nami yitztarich ligo gama chelek shel Rus. The redeemer of Nami's share will have to take Rus's share as well. V'yesh hevdel beineim. There's a big difference between the two halves. Shachelek shel Nami yikna be'achad medarkei hakniya. The chelek of Nami will be with one of the ways of acquisition. Shekoina mahem sada, that you acquire a field. Aval chelek hashayich l'Rus, but the chelek that is shayich to Rus, lo yikneh ba'ofen zeh. You're not going to acquire in this manner. Rak b'derech yibum. Sheyiyabim es Rus u'mimelo yiska b'hasadeh. You're not going to have to do a kinyan on the field. You have bia, and then memela. You'll get the field memela. Rak sha'az tzarich lahakim shema meis al nachlasa. But you should know that on Rus's chelek, it's not really going to be yours. It's not going to be called Toiv's field. It's going to be called Machlain's field. Because what you're doing is you're preserving his inheritance. So you should know, if you expect to have your name on this field, what is it called? The Lefrak Tower. If you want to have the Toiv Tower, no. It's going to be called Machlain, the Machlain estate. Achar Shabal Zakas b'chel Zay de Yibam Shaydei Kain Yakum Al Shem HaMislanach V'zeh Shekasaf B'yom Kenoischa Hasada. Now he brings out for the first time. Forget the chelka that I mentioned in Pasuk Gimel. Now it's sadeh. The hainu rak chelak shonami levad. You're not only going to be kind of the chelak hasadeh, the chelak of nami. Rak tikna hasadeh kula shnei chalakov. V'yesh chiluk b'darchei k'niyasim. There will be a difference in the manner of acquisition. Shechilek shal nami tikna miyah darchei k'niyah. The chiluk of nami you will acquire from nami through kinyan. V'titein kesef mechiroi, and you'll pay her money. Omnam achilek hasheni shetikna miyes rus hamoyavia. This is an amazing diak. Bezel loy amra miyad. Ki zel loy nikna miyad liyad ayidei kesef. Eishes Hameis Kanisa B'chilek Hazeh Tzarchat Aliknois Eishes Hameis. The second half, right? Umeis Rus Hamoyavia Eishes Hameis. That's going to be a kinyan al yedei yibam, and along with the yibam, v'ima tiska gam b'chilek hasadeh. Provided that the second chilek uzeh yesh tanai lahakam shem hameis al nachalasai shenachal azu tikra al shem eishes hameis. Provided that you agree that the second chilek will not be called by your name but by the name of the mace, lo yal shemecha, not by your name, kedin yibam. We do one more, very short. So the Goyal says, I can't do it. Maybe I'll destroy my inheritance. So Rabbi Sai, we've in the past mentioned at least on 2 occasions. What does it mean, my inheritance? He was afraid he would destroy his children because he held not to darshan moni v'lay mayavia. So you have the famous kasha, the Brisker Rav. If he didn't darshan mayavi v'lay mayavia, what's he saying? I'm worried about my children. He should say, I can't do it myself. And if he could do it himself, then he shouldn't be worried about his children. So we said, the Brisker Rav says that he felt this was something which is dependent on a drasha. So even though Boaz the Gadol Hadar in this generation is darshaning Mayavi v'loy Mayavia, and he'll be allowed to do it, what's going to be if in the next generation, the next Gadol Hadar says, I don't hold to the drasha, then his children are going to be destroyed. He wasn't worried about him. He had the heter. But right, we had the shiur called the fluidity and exclusivity of the oral law. In other words, Tarsha Bapez depended on the drasha. By the way, I just discovered this year the Marsha asked this question. And Marsha says an amazing thing. He disagreed with Boaz. He held he was not allowed to marry her. Why? He didn't hold to the drasha, Mayavi v'lay Mayavia. But he figured I could do it anyway. You know why? Yibum. And when it comes to Yibum, Asay doichalois asay.
But if Boaz has the drasha and it's accepted by the bezin, how could he decide he doesn't hold from it?
He doesn't hold of it.
What's this go to do? He's going to start making his own? He has to follow what the bezin says.
I don't know. But so listen to what the Marsha says. So he disagreed. But he held he could live with her one time. But you can't have children from Bia Rishayna. And the halacha is that the heter of Asay Doichalois Asay is only for the mitzvah of Yibum, but doesn't allow Bia Shniya.
Well, it doesn't even require that there be a valid attempt to have offspring.
So Mamela says in Marsha, I'm not worried about living with her, but I'm worried about if I have Bia Shniya, my children are going to be messed up because there's no Asay Doichalois Asay on the Bia Shniya. Now we paskin bisman hazeh that if you can't have Bia Shniya, you can't do Bia Rishayna or to Bia Shniya. But that gezerah was not in effect back then. Okay.
Boaz and Ruth have children from the first Bia?
Yeah.
That's how David HaMelech was born. I mean, Oved, right? So how
it's unusual. It's unusual, but it could happen.
Okay.
Kasha.
Let's just do one more pasuk. Let's do the Mama Man Zayin. So, Vayomer Agoyel, the girl said, Lo yuchal ligoli, I can't redeem pen ashkas as nachalasi, lest I destroy my inheritance. Ga'al lecha atas gula, so you redeem my geula, ki lo yuchal ligol. I cannot redeem. Says the Malbim, Vayomer Agoyel, azeh heishev, achar shlo yuchal ligoli, because I cannot redeem for me, dayak milas li, he's emphasizing the word li. Ratzlamer shlo yuchal sheyel atzmi, it's not possible that it will be for me, v'yeh li al shmi. In other words, his problem was, my name's not going to be on the field. I don't want to do it. I'm going to lose my inheritance. If this is known as Machlain's field and not Toiv's field, then what legacy will I leave over? So you say, what do you mean? He probably had other fields, but he didn't want them. So you redeem my geula. I cannot redeem. He didn't make this drasha, and therefore he said, he said two things. Number one, I can't redeem the field, and I can't marry her because I don't darshan Mayavia. That's why he repeated Lo Yuchaligal Ashnei Tamim Eila. So the Siyata D'Shmaya hopefully will do one segment of this Friday, and we hope to be able to finish. Shkayach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.